The two things I hate most in this world are hypocrisy and being lied to my face. So imagine my reaction when watching The Wolf of Wall Street. I noticed the credits saying, "This is a work of fiction. Any resemblance to actual persons or events is purely coincidental." Wait. Isn't this literally based on Jordan Belfort's autobiography? Well, here's where it gets interesting. According to Danny Porish, the real-life Donnie Azoff played by Jonah Hill, most of the film is pure fiction. Those iconic scenes with the chimp and the little people, made up. Even though Wolf of Wall Street nickname itself appears nowhere before Belfort's book was published. Given his history of fraud and current debts, it's not hard to see why he might embellish, allegedly of course. The movie itself can't seem to decide, one moment claiming to be based on true events, the next completely denying it. And this isn't unique to Wolf of Wall Street. We see this strange dance in films like 1917, The Big Short, and most notably, Oppenheimer, movies clearly based on real events and people. But here's what's even weirder. Other films that could claim to be based on true events, like A Nightmare on Elm Street, which was actually inspired by real cases from the 70s and 80s, though of course with plenty of fiction mixed in, don't use either disclaimer. They don't claim to be based on true events, nor do they include the work of fiction statement. So what's really going on here? Why do some movies based on real events deny it, while others embrace it, and some don't mention it at all? Is it a creative or legal reason? Or maybe there is something we are overlooking? Well, I did some digging, and what I found was fascinating, and it took me to places I didn't expect it. Apparently it all traces back to the Russian Empire, World War I, magic, corporate greed, and most importantly, Rasputin. Before the Soviet Union, there was the Russian Empire, ruled by its last monarch, Tsar Nicholas II. This guy right here with the funny mustache. He was married to Alexandra Feodorovna, and they had a son who suffered from hemophilia. Pay attention. This will be on the test at the end of the video. Hemophilia is a disorder that impairs blood's ability to clot. Back in the early 20th century, people didn't understand hemophilia, and no one knew why the future heir couldn't do simple things like play in the yard or climb into the royal carriage. Any small cut could mean death for the boy, and potentially end the 400 years old Russian dynasty, possibly even the Russian Empire itself. This situation deeply worried the Tsars, especially Tsarina Alexandra, until a very peculiar figure entered their lives, Rasputin. Yes, that same one from the Anastasia movie. How do I describe Rasputin? Imagine the Joker, but in Tsarist Russia, an unpredictable, charismatic figure surrounded by chaos who seemed to wield an inexplicable power over the royal family. Like the Joker, Rasputin sparked extreme reactions. Some saw him as a mystical savior, while others viewed him as a sinister manipulator. But just like in the Batman movies, one thing was certain. Wherever Rasputin was, drama was never far behind. Fun fact, turns out Rasputin was quite the ladies' man. He had his own entourage of women who followed and adored him. There's even a catchy song about it. Though it might not seem like it, in the early 1900s, Rasputin was probably the most powerful person in the Russian Empire, thanks to his supposed supernatural powers. He was a mystic and faith healer who everyone initially thought was just some downtown crazy guy, but he gradually gained the Tsar's trust, especially Tsarina Alexandra's, after partially curing her son's hemophilia. How did he do it? It's still a mystery. Some say it was his incredible charisma. Others credit magical powers and hypnosis. In reality, he probably just told them to stop giving the prince lead, a common medical practice at the time. Anyway, Rasputin's influence over the royal family was based on this healing. Whether it was his presence, prayers, or luck, the results were undeniable. To the Tsarina, he was a miracle worker. To critics, a fraud exploiting a desperate mother. In 1916, Felix Yusupov and other aristocrats, fed up with Rasputin's influence, tried to end his life first with poisoned cake, which didn't work, then him multiple times, still alive, then still moving. Finally, they threw him in a river. Turns out one of the conspirators got cold feet and didn't poison the cakes properly. The whole plot came to light, and against the Tsarina's wishes, Felix and his wife Irina were exiled to France, which ironically saved them from the Russian Revolution. 16 years later, MGM made Rasputin and the Empress about these events. When they didn't get permission or pay Felix Yusupov, he sued for defamation. That didn't work since he'd written a book bragging about how he ended Rasputin's life. So instead, his wife Irina sued because the movie implied Rasputin had, with her character, making her unfit to be a wife. Pretty serious stuff in the 1920s. Here's the kicker. MGM's own researcher warned them this never happened, and they might get sued. They fired her. The court ruled for Irina, awarding her £25,000, $1 million in today's money. But the judge mentioned something interesting. If MGM hadn't promoted the movie as based on true events, they might have won. And that's why we have that disclaimer from the start of the video. Though it's not a get-out-of-jail-free card, it does help studios defend themselves in lawsuits. It shows intent more than anything,